Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Save Point Podcast. This is episode 11. I am Dan, your host, as always, and I am joined today again by Steve, or with Steve.
Hi.
How you doing, Steve?
I'm doing great. 11sies. We're on 11sies. That's awesome.
11sies. Yeah, we actually had that little bit of a discussion right before here, wanting to know what episode we're on. But hey, 11 episodes, which is great. And as a special for the 11th episode, because it's the 11th episode, we have a special guest. And his name is Mike. So say hi, Mike. How you doing?
Howdy. What's going on?
Nothing much. Mike is actually a real-life friend of mine and fellow gamer. Xbox aficionado, should I say?
I got a system preference, definitely. And it's not PlayStation 4. And that usually is like the budding knuckles point between many a conversation between you and I, but...
Yep. Well, when we were... so a little bit of history, Mike and I used to have a radio show for the university. Yeah, for the university that we went to. And one of the best parts about that show was the bantering back and forth that him and I had, because this is when the console wars were like, at the heart of everything. Like, PlayStation 3 sucked, which it did, but I still had love for it. And
the console wars.
He was 360. And what was that? What was that phrase you used to always tell me, that I had a chip implanted in the back of my head?
Yeah, we used to. Geez, how many? There were like 4 of us that were on that radio show at that point.
Yeah,
and I, because I just ooze charm. The other 2 people were on my side, and we believed that you had a chip in your forehead, that every time you said something negative about Sony or PlayStation, that you'd get a migraine, because you got migraines a lot. So we figured that was just your tech overlords telling you that you needed to swerve quickly.
Swerve back. Yeah, no, that was fun times, though. That was fun times. But 2018. We have a great show. One little plug that I do have to say, on the 24th of this month, I will be appearing on a different podcast, and it's a podcast about something. So if you look up a podcast about something, they are doing a 4-part video game podcast series, and I was invited by Calvin to talk about retro gaming, and basically we talk about games before the NES system came out, and what did we play. So we went all the way back to the Sega Master System, to Atari, and ColecoVision, and all of that. And yeah, so it was a good time. So that's dropping. Look for a podcast about something. The 24th, I will be on that one. But check it out anyway. They're on iTunes and Google and all of that. So just search a podcast about something.
When you said systems before Nintendo, the only thing that I could think of was like sticks and rocks outside. Like I didn't like what existed before Nintendo. That's I'm gonna have to learn something.
It was the hoop. It was the hoop with the stick that we rolled down the hill. It never worked going uphill. It only worked going down.
Well, it was snowing back then. Every day I had to walk uphill with my stick and my hoop.
Yeah, both ways.
Both ways.
So, but no, it was a lot of fun. So, like I said, check that out. 24th of September. That'll be dropping on their site. But I think as we start all of our shows, all of our episodes, Steve, what have you been playing?
Oh man, I've been playing Fatherhood. I gave it a 3 out of 5. The only thing
you've been quiet. I haven't really seen you on a lot of things.
No. Well, first of all, like the wife was sick, the kid was sick, the new kid had the sniffles, and we were like, great, 2-month-old sick. What are we gonna do now? She went out of town.
Did you return it?
Yeah, we took her back to the store. We still had the receipt. Oh, we got a newer model. It was great. Upgraded. Newer iOS or whatever. No. So like we were sick. There's been family stuff going on. I've just been busy. And then when I do have a few minutes, it was like, okay, what do I do? And so I decided to backlog it a little bit. I was on the Xbox, and I've got that, Game Pass thing. And like, I don't know, 3 weeks ago or something, I downloaded a couple games. I was like, oh yeah, I've heard about these. I should play these, and downloaded them. And they've just been sitting there on the hard drive, gathering virtual dust. And so the other day I decided I was going to play a little bit of Metro Exodus. One of those, it's like I don't know, it's like a remastered or something of Metro 2033, I want to say, or 35.
Isn't that based off like the book?
Yeah,
it's Russia or something.
It's totally based off of a book because in the game, the book is sitting there on a table. In fact, several copies of the book are sitting on tables all over the game. Subtle, guys, real subtle. It's interesting. It's very, oh man, it is so Russian. It is 1,000% Russian. The other, Russian game that I've played besides Tetris was, Stalker. And, that definitely had very specific vibes in it. Like this Russian the post-apocalypse in Russia is going to be way harsher than in America. Like I feel like just from the, what we've seen in cinema and video games and such, it is dark and it is hopeless and there are demons. So, I mean, gameplay wise, and that was, that's how Stalker was too. Like you're running around, there's radiation. That really wasn't post-apocalyptic, but you're going into like Chernobyl and there's radiation. You got to be careful. And there's all these people running around gathering things. And then you come across these like weird spots where like, I don't know, if you touch them, you die, but you got to throw like nuts and bolts at them to see where they are. It was a whole thing. That was Stalker. Metro has a very similar vibe, except for they're more straightforward about the outside world has been destroyed and is toxic and you need a face mask and breathers and there are crazy monsters running around everywhere. In the Metro, we've got all of these different factions of people and all of them are terrible. I've come across Nazis and I've been double crossed by other Russians and that's it. There's nobody's your friend. So it's just bad all over.
We see this guy. He has to die.
Yeah, it was just like, come on, friend, I'm going to save you. And then he like stabbed you in the back and you're like, oh, but we were comrades. Like, what are you doing? So anyway, gameplay wise, it was actually not very interesting. Like I've been talking it up a bit, it sounds like, but it actually was kind of boring in a way. I don't know if it was because it's a few years old or maybe because, just there's that tinge of unoriginality about it. It's like, post-apocalypse, like we've seen that so many times that you have to be really original. And so the whole, Russian angle and if it was based on a book from like 20 years ago, then yeah, it was probably like way original when it was first talked about. And if the book's different than the game, blah, blah, blah. But the game itself is like, here's some guns, here's some stuff, very linear. You're running through tunnels. A lot of time you have like a companion, like an NPC companion that's just kind of dragging you along and just doing what they say. And then spoilers, that person stabs you in the back and you go and you find somebody else. And then,
aren't both those games, now I've never played Stalker and I've never, Metro looked interesting, but aren't both of those games kind of like, first person? They're first person exploration?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Well,
Fallout Moscow or something.
I would say Stalker is more of like an open world exploration deal. This is, and first person. This one is also first person, but this is more like a shooter vibe where it's not open because all you have are like tunnels and underground facilities. And there's a place where you come in, the door closes behind you, you can't open that door anymore, and you go until you find the next door, and then you go through that door, and then it closes. It kind of gives you that, like, then there's an overworld map of, here's how the tunnels connect. But that's not how it really looks. They're just levels pasted together, which is fine. Like, they were definitely going for a certain type of game. Start here, go there, very linear. And that's fine. It's just for me, not exciting and not original. Saying that, I sat down and
you need a little bit of get lost, like,
yeah,
look, pretty rock. Let's go see what's over there.
Yeah, that's my jam. Like, I love open world games where it's like the castle's on fire in front of you, but there's a talking cow over there. Let's go check out the cow and then we'll get back to the castle later. It'll still be on fire. It's fine. So,
Did you ever notice that things in video games just stay on fire for forever?
Forever. They're just on fire.
completely like throws the whole physics thing out of it, or they just stop out of nowhere.
It'll be like it's on fire, and the fire stops, and then the thing disintegrates, and it's like, unless
look, a clear path.
This is the way we go. Yeah, I mean, video gamey stuff. Has there ever been? And we're going to derail the conversation immediately. Has there ever been a video game with realistic fire physics in it? I don't know. I would.
I want to say Far Cry right off the bat, because you throw a Molotov, you use your repair tool. You kind of, I wouldn't necessarily say realistic, but it's definitely cool. Like you get a dry patch of grass and you throw a Molotov down there, 3 miles downwind from where the outpost is, and all of a sudden everybody's running away screaming because it's a little blaze. That would be the closest thing that I would imagine would look like realistic fire behavior.
Yeah, in Minecraft, which the one of the greatest videos I ever watched was this guy spent supposedly he like 6 months or whatever building this whole mansion.
Oh no.
Okay, and then he invited his friends to it, and he's like, "Hey guys, watch this. Let me light the fireplace." And he never sealed the fireplace correctly, and the whole mansion burned down.
Oh,
I swear, pull it up on YouTube. It's hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. And you're just screaming about it. And then it just out of nowhere, it's just like, it's gone. And you're just like, oh.
That poor bastard.
That's like burning down an entire mansion or a city that you built because of one fluke. Like, you see some of the things they built, and I understand we're talking about Minecraft here, but you see some of the stuff that those people built. Mm-hmm. And it's that's not a game anymore. That's like, I don't want to say a career because that's the wrong choice of word. That is your calling. You made hobby? All of Venice blocks. Like,
it does.
I'd be a little upset too if I dropped my cigarette in the wrong spot.
What do you do for a living? I'm a professional Minecraft player, builder.
Build volcanoes, and then I blow them up.
Yeah, one match, whole thing goes up. It's great.
So no, well that sounds good. You think you'll be able to get some more time in, or
nah? I'm done.
How's the rest of the family doing?
Oh, family's fine now. Everyone's so the wife and the kids are now well, and now I've got like a weird sinus thing going on, so I finally caught it. So hooray! But yeah, Metro, I put in, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours. I think I'm done. I don't see myself going back. There was nothing story wise or gameplay wise that I haven't seen before. They weren't doing anything really 100% original. I'm glad I got to play it and check it out because I, heard decent things about it. And if I wasn't such a prolific gamer, I'd probably think like, hey, this is pretty awesome. But I'd rather, load up Wolfenstein or Doom or something if I wanted a true like first person shooter, go through the level, start to finish situation. I'd rather go for something like that. So that is the only thing that I got a chance to play.
Start playing RimWorld again.
Oh man, the other day I was playing RimWorld and there was a lightning storm and I was playing on a jungle map. Half the jungle burned down. I'm not even joking. I was like, there goes my wood supply. What
is RimWorld? You haven't listened to our previous 2 episodes ago when he explained everything for it?
I am stuck behind a computer at work for 8 to 12 hours a day. I didn't get to download your last 2. Does that make me a bad guest?
Yes.
A horrible guest.
Like, you guys invited me onto the show to talk about video games, and I didn't hear the last 2.
This guest, 0 out of 5 so far. This guest.
Yeah.
No,
Yelp
it's all
review
good.
in the comments below.
So, what if you can give a 30-second synopsis?
No,
what is
I can't. 30 seconds? You've heard me, right?
Moving on.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
He explained it. It turned into a 20-minute explanation of the game.
I'm going to set a timer. No, everyone get your stopwatches out, pull out your phones. Here we go. Ready? I'm going to do a 30-second explanation of RimWorld. It's a game on a computer where you got little people and you build colonies and you give them jobs and you got to mine stuff and you got to build stuff and raids come and attack you and you've got to defend them, but you don't control every character one by one. You just kind of assign them jobs and let them do their thing. They also have relationships with each other, and the whole point of the game is to eventually go from the point of crash landing on this planet to building a spaceship and blasting off and leaving the planet. And that is 30 seconds.
Yep,
damn,
there you go.
Nice good.
Job.
Boom.
So I said it reminded me of something. If you remember that episode, it said that game reminded me of something. And I figured out what it reminded me of. Okay,
What's
and
that?
I was like sleeping, and I like woke up like 2 days later. I'm like
Cold
I
sweat?
remember.
In a cold sweat.
Yeah. When you said, it's to build a spaceship. Did you ever watch that Simpsons episode with the Movementarians?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And basically what they're doing is they're on the farm and they're picking beans or whatever.
Yeah.
And Homer's like, he's like, why are we not allowed in the sacred barn? And Homer's like, my friends, he's not taking our money to build a spaceship. He's taking our money, opens up the barn. He says, he's taking our money to build one hell of a spaceship because there's a spaceship.
That's a good moment.
So yeah, it's what a great episode. I'll go next. As far as what I've been playing, and it's very, very simple. I think everybody knows this. I've been playing a shit ton of Spider-Man. It just since Thursday night. Thursday night, I obviously was downloaded, right at 11 o'clock when it released that, in my time frame, time zone. And I played until probably about 4 o'clock that morning.
Wow.
And then, and then I went back Friday night and played until about 3 o'clock that morning. I went back about 9 o'clock at night, went back and played until about 3 o'clock in the morning. And then Saturday night into Sunday, I went and I played from about 8 o'clock to about 1:30 in the morning.
Wow.
Yeah, I have there.
Did you like it?
We're gonna
guarantee there's at least one listener that's like, he took breaks, rookie. Gotta pump those numbers up, man.
Gotta pump up those
He
numbers.
went to bed at 4 a.m.
We'll get into more details later on in this episode. I'll just say one thing. It has made me. I am determined to platinum this game.
Ooh.
I am determined to platinum this game.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how much I'm invested and how much I love it. And we'll get into, like I said, we'll get into the other part later on in the show about the Spider-Man
episode
stuff.
11.
Yeah, episode 11.
So we start the Deadpool now. It says episode 321. You actually platinum it.
Really?
I mean, your rating just went from 0 to 1 because you think we're going to last over 300 episodes. Good job,
There
guest.
you go. Thank you for the confidence. Mike. So, Mike, what have you been playing?
Jesus. It's really only two things. Almost every single spare moment that I have to play games is equally divided between Destiny 2 and World of Warcraft, Battle for Azeroth.
Right on.
I'm not. Not that anybody listening would know, but Dan and I have had multiple conversations about how the older I get, the less time I have to myself, the more responsibility I take. My taste in games has become more and more selective.
You become prude.
Yeah. Yeah, if I'm only playing stuff that like truly really excites me, or stuff that I already have like a huge time sink in, and thankfully both of those games are hit both of those pinpoints pretty well. So yeah, no, Destiny 2 is amazing. Battle for Azeroth has been everything I've been wanting in World of Warcraft for years, and we're finally getting it, and it's awesome. So
what's the big deal? Because I played, so I know WoW from the point of up until Wrath of the Lich King or so, where it was all pretty much the same, just with like new places. You have a character, you've got armor and stats, and you run around, you do quests, you find the people with the exclamation points, you stay up till 4 a.m, you hate yourself internally, you quit for a month, you come back later, like that cycle just repeats. So how is this different from that? Like why is this like the expansion that everyone's like, this is it, this is crazy? Like what does it do? What's so special?
Honestly, nothing really new. The open world PvP is really the reason I came back.
Open world PvP?
They have this
okay.
they have this new feature called War Mode that you turn it on in your capital city. If you're Alliance, you turn it on in Stormwind. If you're the Horde, you turn it on in Orgrimmar. And no matter where you are in the world, you're flagged for PvP, and it makes for some pretty interesting. I just wanted to quest. Please let me get to level 120. Stop bothering me. Please go away. Moments. That's that. I mean, that's what that. Not that I really stopped playing, but the amount of time that I had invested in it had kind of diminished. as time went on. But yeah, I came back pretty hard, and I am the worst at PvP in anything. My skill is abhorrent.
I wouldn't say that. You do have one game, and I don't know if it was. I don't think it was 3. I think it was 4 because I played 4. That's when I really got into it, and I thought I was getting halfway decent. Was Halo. You're halfway decent Halo player.
Halfway decent, and then I don't know, like the MLG scene got big, and everybody with 2 thumbs and a can-do attitude suddenly became everybody's worst nightmare. Yeah, no, it's I got into it for a little bit. You remember when we were younger, we were all about first-person shooters and being competitive. But yeah, no, it's
I remember that. So I've been exclusively PlayStation. So my systems went Master System, Nintendo, PlayStation, and I've been PlayStation. I really didn't even know what really an Xbox was until I met Mike. I never paid attention to it. I always thought it was kind of a joke type sort of thing. And then
a joke console.
Honestly, well, I mean, like, you know how like some of these consoles, like the Ouya came out or whatever, and it died, and you know, like I was just like, oh, okay, Microsoft is trying to make a console, and it's, what was it? It was like $600 or $700 when it first came out, or whatever, and this thing was the size of a house, and you know, and
I lived in mine for 3 years.
Fucking huge.
Yeah, no, you can't necessarily verify the price. I can't remember how much it was way back then, but I can absolutely verify that thing was.
It was a beast.
Unit.
Yeah, I want to say it was like $300, which in early 2000s money was significant.
Yeah, but that came out when we were like 15, 16. So of course anything over $100 is $1 million.
Yeah,
true. And I remember looking at it and saying, "Oh, you need a broadband network," and I'm like, nobody can afford a broadband network. Nobody's ever going to be able to afford a broadband network.
Internet, that's a fad.
Internet, you know, showing our ages. And I remember that I was over at Mike was living at an apartment with a couple of friends of ours, and I remember going over there, and he's like, "Hey, you want to play some Halo 1-on-1?" And I'm like, "Sure. Oh, look at this! I got a nice little controller for the Xbox." And and he just demolished me.
I think it's been long enough. I can honestly say, Dan, that was a trap.
Yeah, it was.
I knew you weren't going to be. I wanted to feel good about myself for 5 minutes.
I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this right now. It was like I got one. And if people are thinking, "Oh, he got one kill on him," I'm like, no, I got one shot. I think I shot my gun once.
I was intentionally telling you what, the wrong layout of what the buttons did. Like, oh, you want to jump? Click in the thumbstick.
Yeah. Why did I do a head dive into?
Yeah.
Oh, you did it wrong.
But no, actually, I do have to say one of the nicest things. Speaking of Xbox, one of the nicest things that this Mr. Mike did for me was my PlayStation 3 ended up dying like a lot of them did. It ended up getting the yellow light or whatever. The disk drive didn't work, so I had to send it in. And at that point, I didn't have a lot of money at the time, so I couldn't really afford to get it repaired. So out of nowhere, Mike, and I think you were with our other buddy Keith, showed up, and Mike's like, "I got a surprise for you," and he brought me his original Xbox, and he had a copy of Oblivion in it, and he said, "Here, while you're waiting."
Morrowind.
Yeah,
Morrowind. That was the.
Yeah. So I was just like, "Oh, we're friends forever now." Yeah. But no, it was pretty cool. So that became my exposure, and then a couple months after that, I ended up getting my first 360. So
good deal.
Yeah.
So now that we've gone down memory lane,
so, as Steve is sitting there, just kind of like, "Oh, okay,
cool story, guys. What about games?
Cool story, bro."
No, that's really sweet though. That's amazing to have friends buy you a system like that. I've never had that experience.
Oh no, he didn't buy me a system.
Oh no, I didn't buy anything. I wasn't using it anymore.
Oh, so so
okay. But it was just out of nowhere, because you didn't have a car at that time either, too. So you just out of nowhere.
Game on a lot of things.
Yeah, So he just out of nowhere was just like, oh, I'm going to show up at Dan's and I'm going to let him use my Xbox, my original Xbox until his PlayStation comes back.
That's cool.
So I thought that was pretty cool.
Friendship.
So actually, I do want to go back to Destiny 2. So you're talking about the Foresaken expansion that just came out, correct?
That just Destiny as a whole. The newest expansion Forsaken came out on the 4th, and I can't stop playing it. Oh my god!
So let's dissect it a little bit. Let's just dissect it a little bit. So obviously, Destiny 2 has not had the greatest. I want to say following the greatest thoughts about it. They saying a lot of the gameplay was recycled and all of that, so it wasn't the greatest sequel to ever come out for a game series.
Yes.
And they've been working to try to get that image away and try to better that image.
It's a situation that this expansion specifically is a mirror situation very much to what Destiny 1 was. Destiny 1 was like everybody was super excited about it, and then kind of like a content drought happened, and expansion after expansion, there wasn't really anything new. Mm-hmm. And then they released the actually I think it was the third expansion, the Taken King was the third big one, I think.
Yes.
I reserve the right to be wrong.
Enjoyed that one. I played.
Yeah, that's because it brought a lot of new things to the table, and it made a vast amount of quality of life improvements, and everybody that had left came back and loved it. And Forsaken is to Destiny 2 what Taken King was to Destiny 1, in my opinion, and it's an opinion that I see as mirrored on any Destiny 2 community. It made a crap load of quality of life improvements that weren't just needed for the game, but specifically asked for by the community. And like the writing's better, the story's better, the lore is back inside the game. We're getting randomized rolls on guns. I could list off everything that Reddit and everybody had been asking for, and it's brought a lot of people back. It's fun again. It's mysterious again, and I sound like I'm on their payroll.
That chip is beeping in the back of your head.
Yeah. No, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
So I think one of the biggest changes that I heard, and like I said, I've not followed Destiny 2 since the release, just because of the way that I was able to play the game, and I really haven't followed it because it has not sparked my interest, for obvious reasons that we can go into. But so I heard that there's a game mode that is now it's like PvE
Gambit.
P.
Yeah. So it is the love child of PvE and PvP. Matches start. It's a 4v4 game mode. 4 players against an enemy team of 4 players, and the matches start with you on a map with computer-controlled enemies spawning at random points that you and your team go and just slaughter en masse, and they drop these little items called motes of light. And what you do is you collect enough of them in increments of 5, 10, 15, and you go bank them in the middle of the map. And the whole goal behind Gambit is to bank enough of these motes of light so that you can summon a boss at the end of the round. And the first team to kill their boss wins the round. But the thing is, on top of these enemies that you're fighting, these computer-controlled enemies, the opposing team, I mentioned that increments of motes of light can be used, deposited 5, 10, 15. 5 motes gives a small blocker to the enemy team. So it summons an enemy that they got to kill before their bank comes back. 10 is a medium blocker, 15 is a large blocker, and then every time your team deposits 25 motes, a little portal opens up and you become the enemy. So it flips it on its head a little bit. You go through this portal and you invade the opposing team, and your main goal is to just wipe them out. And it's hectic.
It sounds like it's a lot of fun.
That does sound fun.
It really is.
So with the weapons and armor and all of that, so it's not like you go into a matchmaking lobby, and then everybody starts out with a predetermined build. You have your armor and your guns that you've found within the game that you can use.
Yeah. So they kind of brought back the random rolls, some random perks on weapons and armor from Destiny 1 that people were asking for at the release of Destiny 2. Back when Destiny 2 first came out, every bit of armor, every weapon had a set amount of perks. So the same weapon you'd get twice, it always had the same amount of perks with very limited selection between like what you could do to swap out stats and stuff like that. But they brought back these random rolls, and now, yeah, dude, like different sets of armor. The meta kind of got flipped up on its head. So there really is no, this is the good gun, this is the good armor set, this is the good build. People are experimenting with a whole bunch of different builds, and it's cool. It's really cool seeing what they come up with.
That's awesome, because when you look at the community and the meta is like, if you're playing Titan, then you have to have this piece and this piece and this piece. Otherwise, you're not really playing the game, and you're failing. And it's just like, you got to ignore that stuff. But then there's that little thing in the back of your head that goes, well, am I not playing it right? Should I grind out this one piece because they say that's like the best piece? But now if it's just like, nah, man, it's Wild West out there. See the best rolls you can get and just go for it. That's a better way to go, in my opinion.
It got stale right before Forsaken came out. It got really stale. People were using the same 3 guns in any PvP mode. PvE modes, like there for certain boss fights, like you had to have a certain loadout, or else you weren't really doing anything.
Right.
You weren't that good. And now you're absolutely that. You hit the nail on the head with the analogy. The Wild West, like it's crazy. You're seeing people load in with guns and you're like, oh, I know what that does, and it's got a completely different role, and you're just getting wrecked, or you're doing really good. It's it really brought a lot of points, brought a lot of people back.
How's the bow and arrow?
Depends on if you're using it or getting shot by it. Because if you're using it and you're decent at placing that cursor over crit spots, it's awesome. If you're getting railed by it, then it sucks ass.
It's amazing.
So go ahead.
The Forsaken as a whole, as an expansion, is it, do you buy it separately, or is that the game now? Is that the core game now? Do you know?
Bungie got in a little hot water previously with the way that they rolled out their expansions, where stuff that you bought in previous expansions, pardon me, had gotten locked out.
Mm-hmm.
So if you didn't buy the absolute newest expansion, then certain playlists or certain activities, certain endgame content, you weren't able to access because it was updated for this new expansion.
Right.
Right now, with Forsaken, it's it's not bad. I mean, there's different there are different like tiers of the expansion that you can get with like the digital deluxe edition, but it doesn't really add anything other than like the annual pass for stuff that's coming out in the future and some cosmetic items. They made it so that nobody was getting left behind once Forsaken dropped and went live on the 4th. Everybody still had the same playlist. Everybody still had the same content that they could go to. There was just, I mean, they did what most MMOs do. They added stuff on and didn't really touch the stuff that was before. They spruced it up, made it relevant to a point, but all this new stuff, like you have to have Forsaken. So you can still play the rest of the game until you get Forsaken and go in there and knock out the new content.
So I was on my Xbox the other day and I was cruising around looking for what I eventually landed on Exodus, but I was like, I don't have this Forsaken yet, and I've played through Destiny. I've 1 and 2 and all the expansions, and I thought, I kind of put it down for a while, but maybe it's time to pick it back up. I wonder how much it is. And I couldn't find a price. It was like, it was like the full version. On
Xbox, you're not the first person to say that. And I don't like they had it so that for a couple weeks prior to the expansion actually launching, there was like the symbol for the Forsaken was found on the director, the map where you go and choose what activity you want to do. And clicking on that, like moving your cursor over it and hitting A over it, brought you to like a split screen saying you got to either get the standard edition or you get the digital deluxe edition. And some people were saying that they canned it. Like you'd go and you choose something and it'd bring up the Microsoft Store and you couldn't access it.
Huh. That's weird.
And there was it's the same thing with any expansion. You're going to have different versions that give you different cosmetic items or different like nameplates to show off.
Sure.
But there was a little while where some people were that I was reading online couldn't access like the standard edition for a while. Like you could only get the digital deluxe.
Well, even the standard edition, is it a full like $59.99 expansion?
I thought it's $40.
Yeah, I think it was $39.99 originally.
Huh.
I'd have to check because you're all cards on the table. You're talking to a Destiny super fan, so
right.
Like,
it doesn't matter what the price was. Yeah,
didn't matter. As soon as I saw that you could get like a different ghost shell that was slightly bluer than the blue ghost shell you had before, I was like, drooling. So yeah, no, I got the digital deluxe edition, but
okay.
there was the standard edition, digital deluxe. There was the digital collectors. There was the last stand edition available at GameStop that gave you like a statuette of one of the main characters. And
which one did you get?
They're saying that Destiny Forsaken will cost $40 on its own.
Yes.
A bundle of Forsaken and its annual pass is $70, and then the digital deluxe edition of the expansion for $80.
Yeah,
okay.
And then there was another one that was I think like $90 that included Forsaken as well as any of the expansions you might have missed out on. So if you didn't have Warmind, if you didn't have, why am I forgetting the name of the second one?
Some super fan.
Curse of Osiris. Yeah, right. Curse of Osiris and Warmind. I redeemed myself.
So Destiny
Awesome.
Superfan, in theory, if they kicked open your front door and said, "Hey, $999, and you can have this special version of Destiny 2 that has a bored Peter Dinklage doing the voices of everyone," would you pay it?
Hang on, let me check over my computer real quick, make sure my wife's got her headphones in. I would sell my child.
That is the right answer.
I would sell my child and then go on like a Taken-esque redemption story fight to get her back after I put an adequate amount of time into the video game.
I'll rescue her after I kill the Warmind.
The headphones were not in as tight as I thought they were.
Oh no. It's been nice talking to you.
Yeah. This was a pleasure, gentlemen. Thank you for having me on the show. Please call the cops.
Good.
Yeah, no. There's a limit to what I would get. There's
Sure.
It's the same thing with anybody. Is you got to weigh what you're willing to pay versus what you're actually getting. And for some people, I like collector's editions. I collect collector's editions. I appreciate the small little cosmetic stuff that they give you. And I don't know.
I think I can say this with a little bit of confidence, and knowing you for now 11 years of my life, that Destiny, you'd pay a lot of money, and if it would get up there, you'd think about it, and I think maybe you'd make a choice whether or not to buy it, and you would stick to that.
Yeah, no,
I know that there's another series that you can say, hey, look, this is $10,000, and he'll find a way to find the $10,000 for it, and that's Zelda.
Yes, absolutely. They could tell me that they're like, there's an edition of the next Legend of Zelda that comes out. Even no, Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild's been out for a couple of years now. If they told me that there was an edition of Breath of the Wild that came out with a paper cup that Shigeru Miyamoto spit into, crumbled up, and left in the packaging, I would throw money at it.
Yeah, but he would.
Wow.
It's actually pretty. It's actually pretty cool. Some of the collector stuff that he has from Zelda. But no, so you're saying that Forsaken is definitely worth at least the $40 asking price if you have Destiny 2 and per se you are thinking about getting back into the game.
If there was, if you needed a reason to come back to a game that you enjoyed in the past, then Forsaken is definitely your key to that door. If you played Destiny 2 and found it lacking, it introduces a lot of really cool new stuff. Gambit being one of the best selling points, this new hybrid PvE PvP mode. The new raid is also a big selling point. But at the end, it's just another shared world shooter. So if you're not into shared world shooters, you're not into games that require teamwork, you're not into games that really kind of force a power creep to get to that powerful point, then I don't know what to tell you.
Cool.
It's really
yeah.
fair assessment.
That sounds about right. I've been into, Destiny. I was I pre-ordered the first one, and all that. And I got really excited with Destiny 2 and played through it. Had a lot of fun, got the expansion pass, played through all that stuff. I'm not much on PvP, so that stuff I usually kind of gloss over. I might try it once or twice. But then after Warmind, I was like, yeah, I think they've done everything they can with this. I think I might be over it. And so when all the Foresaken stuff was coming out, I was like, yeah, we'll see. Like I wasn't there day one like I wasn't on everything else. So it's refreshing to see that people are saying, no, it's back, and to hear firsthand that it's worth the money. So I might put that a little higher on my list.
If you didn't like Destiny, you're not going to like Forsaken. But if you,
Sure.
like I said, if there was something you wanted out of it, and Forsaken looks like it might fulfill it, then yeah, give it a shot, because you'd be like, I'm, again, as a self-described super fan, like, I'm surprised the amount of stuff that they fit into this expansion.
That's
like,
cool.
Okay.
Just
That's awesome.
end game content. I'm almost 50, because of the amount of time I have to play. I'm like 50, 60 hours into the expansion now, and I beat the campaign, opened up all the zones, haven't touched the end content yet.
Wow.
Huh.
Something to look forward to.
Like, haven't even scratched it.
That's awesome.
That's cool. Awesome. Well, thanks for your perspective on that, Mike. We're going to get into, I think, our final topic for this episode. Like I said, we were going to touch upon it, and that's the Spider-Man, Marvel Spider-Man for PlayStation 4 that came out. Obviously, it came out on last Friday of what our taping is, so September 7th. And just seeing the press or seeing the media, and just the industry around, if you're following it, there's just so much buzz around it on the things that they're saying Insomniac did right. And I kind of want to touch upon a couple of those things, that we can kind of discuss. First off, the biggest thing, and everybody talks about it, and I cannot agree with a lot of these people more. Absolutely, just what Steve just did, because people can see this through audio.
Here, I'll do it again. Everyone listen.
Yeah.
There, I did it
A couple
again.
of sound effects in there. Give him a real treat.
I would. Yeah, it is the swinging, the traversal through the city. The second that you put on the Spidey suit, and you jump out, and it says, okay, hit R1, and then it's like a pendulum, and then you release, and then you can zip yourself, and then you can post jump, and all of that. I mean, you do truly feel the weight of him when he's swinging down, and then when he's coming back up, you start to get a feel for it. The city, and I think this is where a lot of the older ones, and just graphically and developmentally, they couldn't do it, and they can because of the power of the consoles nowadays, is they have made the city so high. I mean, you feel that you're all the way up. You feel you're in the sky, but you never feel that that's the only place you are. Like, that's the only thing that's there, and it's dense. Like, you feel just as busy. There's so much busy stuff that's happening on the ground. And then as you start to even just go up through the roofs, and you see the little details of the air handler units and the vents and the exhausts and the people that are on top, and then the different type of like roof gardens and mansions and pools and all of that you fly across. It's extremely busy as you start to climb up these buildings, and they're so close together. So like you start to learn like your tricks of your whiplashing around the buildings and just everything. It's just done so well. You feel that you are, and a lot of people have used this, and I didn't know if I wanted to use it, this phrase, but I do. It is therapeutic. It is a very therapeutic movement.
Just whipping around the city?
Just whipping around the city. Like, I was talking to somebody on PlayStation talking about the game, and I didn't want to go over and do anything because I didn't want to miss any of the story or anything I was saying, and also have this conversation. So I'm literally just whipping around the buildings, and that's all I'm doing. Like, and I'm having the greatest time. I ended up talking to him for about 45 minutes, and I didn't do anything in the game. All he did was whip around between buildings.
Do you know how much crime happened while you were just screwing around?
Like, that is irresponsible.
How dare you?
Irresponsible.
you just feel. I mean, you feel the speed of it. I mean, it's just they did such a great job with it. The voice acting is absolutely incredible, from Mary Jane to people know that this character is in it. Miles Morales is in it.
What?
Peter
I didn't know that, actually.
You didn't?
I didn't know Miles Morales was in there.
So, spoiler.
Yeah, wasn't that like one of the things that they had touched on, was that this is like an entirely new, like this isn't the Marvel universe that you know, like this is a completely different Spider-Man story, a completely fresh Spider-Man story. This isn't.
Correct.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it is. I'm not gonna say there's a couple of character reveals that if you are any type of purview, any type of knowledge of Spider-Man, there's been a couple of wonderful surprises in the story where it's just like, oh, holy shit, and
wow.
Like foreseen, like they're saying things and you're just like, okay, I know that at some point this is going to happen. It might not happen in the game. It might not happen in this version of the game, but I know it's going to happen because you can see them leading to it. But that's the thing. Like when you think that it's going to happen, it doesn't. Like something else happens. Okay. So they've done such a great job with the story. And like I said, it makes me, I'm so in tuned into the story. And like I said, just the voice acting is great. There was an article that I read, and I don't remember if it was somebody on our Discord that posted it or if it's something that I found. I think it was somebody posted it. Was the little bits of like when you're perched up like on a rooftop and Spider-Man is talking, his voice sounds just kind of normal and whatever. As he's swinging around and as he's talking, like if he gets a phone call or something, as he's swinging around, you hear like him out of breath and you hear him.
He sounds like he exerts himself. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I was reading that. I read that article too. That's like, and it's from what it looked like, it's like seamless. So like he gets a phone call, he's talking to somebody on the phone, and he's kind of chilling on a rooftop, and he's talking as he's talking, and then he whips away, and you can hear the exertion in his voice. He's swinging around the city, and then he lands again, and it's seamless. The transition from like standing still to that's that was pretty impressive.
Little things of if you're crawling on a building and you look in a window, and if like how you can get that glare from like the sun, like if there's a sunshine on it and you can't see through the window, like you would see the reflection. You actually see the reflection of the buildings behind you, like in the windows that you're looking at. So I mean, it's the little details like that. I think one of the other big things too is the combat. Everybody says that it reminds them of Batman Arkham, the Arkham games, and I can say yes for about 50% of it.
And that's not a bad yes. The Arkham games had really smooth combat. Yeah.
What they did though is that if you guys have played the Arkham games, correct?
Yeah.
All of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you're Batman, you kind of wait for somebody to kind of do something and then you counter. And then you can throw a gadget down and you throw something and then you move and then you can start your sprints.
For some.
Okay.
Yeah, right? Like balance between offense and defense.
This is if you're going to wait for somebody to hit you, you're not doing the combat correctly. You're not going to build your combo score up. You're not going to do that. This wants you to web swing. This wants you to pendulum yourself back and forth. There's moves where you can jump. You can hit somebody, jump onto the wall, shoot your web, and then jump off the wall. If there's somebody that's you're hitting, and then you see out of the corner of your eye that somebody's about to shoot you, you can dodge that, and as you're dodging that, you can start to shoot your web, and if they're near the wall, they'll stick to the wall. Like it wants you to move fast.
So it like rewards aggressive mobility.
Yes, and it rewards it handsomely. It really does. I mean, and then the move sets, like it's just, how like you can go into, like if you would hit like a move or a combination and you would do this move, and then it doesn't matter. Like you could be like hitting somebody and be on the ground and then suddenly you go into this move and then like you're 6 feet up into the air slamming on the guy. Like in some games, I find that, kind of bad development, it just doesn't flow.
It's like a cutscene, not a move. Yeah.
Exactly.
Quick time events and stuff like that.
Correct. In this combat, if you pull off that move, like if you pull off a finisher move, it's going to sync to your movements And then if you like turn around, like if you end up where your back is towards the enemy that's down, you're going to go and then you can move right into that next move to hit the next enemy. That's like, could be like right behind you or whatever. It's just so fluid and transitional is so good.
And even from the videos that I've seen, as your combo multiplier goes up, it seems that it almost looks faster and more frantic and smoother and
yes.
more of a, you know, one hit will knock him back instead of two hits will knock him back, that kind of deal. So
it's like an adrenaline thing. It's kind of cool.
That's awesome. It's get in there, be a superhero, get in the zone and beat everybody up.
So and my last part of the combat with it is, you know how like you get into some games and they'll have like waves that come at you and you're just like, oh, you know, here's you know, wave number 3 and I know that there's going to be this type of guy and then there's going to be this amount of guys and I just gotta, you know, like power through it. Like you're just like, oh, okay, I just gotta get it or whatever. In Spider-Man, you're like, okay, bring on the fuckers because I'm ready. Because I got the adrenaline going, jumping up and down. I can do this. I can throw out my spider bot. I can throw out a trip mine here. I can throw out a web bomb here. And it's just like, it's like, bring it. Because like you feel it. Like you feel I can take on these guys because I'm that damn good. Like it makes you feel so rewarded that you can take on big groups like that. And then and if you perfect a wave, it's like that's the coolest feeling. It's like those fuckers didn't even touch me because I'm that damn good.
I am Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean, I
am the spider.
Yeah. So I mean, just all around, like I said, this game, I've looked at the platinums, or I looked at the trophies, and it makes me want to platinum this game. It is just, and my goal is to platinum it before the first DLC comes out.
Ooh, what if you? I mean, did they ever launch with trophies that you can't achieve until a DLC's out? Did they ever do anything like that to you?
I don't.
No,
See,
I don't. I
don't
can't
think they do that now.
Okay, that's good then.
Like they add the achievements when the expansion comes out.
How far into the game are you now? Is there like a progression meter, or do you?
There is a progression meter, and I think it's progression of story.
Okay.
And I think I'm about 42% to the story, maybe 32%. But like one of the things that I'm doing in open world, so like people know this. So like one of the first, this is another really kind of good game design that I like that they did. So, you know, collectibles. Mm-hmm. Okay. All the collectibles that you get turn into tokens. Okay. And those tokens are used to upgrade certain things, suits, to buy suits, gadgets, all of that. So you have 6 different types of tokens that you can get. Okay. And
Vanguard tokens, Hunter tokens, tokens for PvP.
Dipping back into the Destiny conversation.
It's either 6 or 8. For some reason, it's escaping me right now.
I want to say 6.
But I think it's 6. But like, so when you first start the game, okay, they're saying you come across a backpack. And they're like, oh, okay, the backpack collectibles are available to you. Okay? And you can go out and you can just keep progressing through the story, and then they can say, okay, the landmarks. So Peter Parker, you know, he was a photographer. You know, here's landmarks. They want you to take pictures of the landmarks. Like, you can go over and do all the backpack ones and find all the backpacks and then progress through the story and then do all the landmark ones if you want. Or you can mix and match depending on where you're at. So like, I'll take like Assassin's Creed. I remember Unity, and this is the best way I can compare it. In Unity, when you would open it up, there was icons all over the damn place for you to go over. Do you remember that?
Ubisoft game.
Yes.
You're spending 90% of your time collecting a bunch of useless crap.
Correct. And this, they spread it out where it never feels like it's a burden to do. It's like, okay, I want to take a break from the story. I want to swing around. I want to go over. The nice part about it is that they're so spread out that now I know the city. Like I know when I go here, I know what I'm going to see. Like I know through Central Park how to get through Central Park. I know when I go to Lower Manhattan, you know, the things that I'm going to see. When I go to Upper Manhattan, I know that the Avengers Tower is there right near the Empire State Building. Wow. You know, I mean, it's just, you start to know the neighborhoods that are around. And like I said, they just did an excellent job with it. I cannot wait to finish the game. I've been talking it up since Friday.
You mean like the game map, right? Like you're whipping around and like the game map, because I'd hate for you to play Spider-Man and be like, I know New York City. I'm in Central Park. Where's the Sanctum Sanctorum? Like, show me the wizard.
Actually, the interesting thing about that is, so I have been to New York. I talked about that a couple episodes ago when we did go to New York, and the placement of like the landmark buildings it's pretty spot. I don't, obviously it's not exact because you don't have Avengers Tower in New York and you don't have the Sanctum Sanctorum there.
Bullshit. They're there. They're there in my heart.
But that the Empire State Building is middle Manhattan to lower Manhattan or to upper Manhattan.
It looks.
Yes.
Not necessarily one for, because we've had games like that before that touted that type of. That's a like Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs told you go to Chicago, and apparently 5 minutes north of the Loop, you're in the boonies, and you're just like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, like it was not a map of Chicago. Like this is a pretty accurate, per se, accurate but not accurate map of New York.
They did their best.
It looks impressive.
Central Park is there. Don't worry, guys. We got buildings. There's a river somewhere. Manhattan's still an island, we think.
There's hobos everywhere.
Park is still Central Park.
A lot of hobos.
Yeah, a lot of hobos. Speaking of people on the street, can you see now? You know me with my PlayStation. I'm in it for the exclusives. Yep. I'm salivating, waiting to get done with God of War. So that I can pick up the next single-player game. I heard that there is a skill you can buy in the game to land on the street and finger guns pedestrians like Spider-Man 3.
It's like, not a skill you have to buy. You can just do it from the beginning.
So you like snap at people and hey,
yeah,
what's happening?
Yes, yep.
One of the things right there.
One of the things that Insomniac didn't want to do is that they didn't want you to be able to punch, pedestrians. So like if you go down and you go on the street level and you hit like the attack button, you do like an animation for them. So you will throw out your fingers like guns or you'll pose for them or you'll do something with your hands.
I've seen like high fives and stuff like that. Yeah. Handshakes. Yeah.
Yep. Actually, there is one there's a whole bunch of Easter eggs, but I do want to share this one. This one's kind of funny because they're patching it out, or they have patched it out already.
Oh, yeah.
So did you hear about this, Mike? About the marquee?
The marquee?
So there's a guy that contacted Insomniac, and he wanted to propose to his girlfriend in the game. So if you go to one of the theaters, it says whatever her name is, and will you marry me? The problem is the game went gold, printed, and shipped, and she broke up with him.
Oh, no shit!
Before he could do that. So
no!
Yeah.
So they patched it. They patched it out of the game. I think with this latest patch, which I think dropped today.
That's classy.
Did they replace it with something else?
I'm sorry?
Did they replace it with something else? Because the last I heard in the story, like they were asking him, like, "Hey, what should we put there instead, guy?" Like,
yeah, I'm not sure what they replaced it with, or if they left it blank or whatever. Okay. I haven't seen a thing on there. It was, and what is it? The update just dropped, I think, a couple of hours ago. So I don't know if anybody's really posted anything on it.
They patched it. Yeah. I don't know. Too soon. They patched it. They patched the marquee specifically so that they were advertising dollar showings of the breakup.
Yeah. They actually did confirm something today on September 11th. They did confirm something, and I think it's awesome. And it's going to throw so much replayability into it. Spider-Man is getting a new Game Plus mode.
Yeah.
What?
So that is going to be patched in because there are 3 levels of difficulty. Like they say, like the easiest one is if you just want to enjoy the story and you really don't want to worry about stuff. The middle one is if you want a challenge, and then So, and that's called amazing. And then you have incredible, which is the hardest difficulty. So what you can basically do is that if you played it on medium and you want to go to hard, you're going to be able to carry over all your abilities and all of that.
That's pretty cool.
So, yeah. And like I said, I think there's only one kind of gripe in it that I would say, and that's I don't understand the progression system. So like you're getting 2,500 to 3,000 XP per main mission, and then like 1,500 and lower for other side missions and all of that, and then how it goes out. Now, if you go over, it's like every mission, I'm going up a level. Because it's like the progression, like you don't need that much XP to.
Are you a level Spider? Are you a level 99 Spider-Man?
I'm level 22. I think your cap is 50 in this.
Does that just go towards skills and experience, or
actually it goes
like
towards,
do you have
it
like
goes towards
stats
everything.
or something?
So it goes towards everything. So one of the big things is, so you only have 8 gadgets that you can end up unlocking, and all of those are story based. So those will open up through the story, and then you have different types of skills that you can get. So you have your skill progression, which costs tokens and all of that, and skill points. Actually, you get skill points per level. So then your skill points, and there's like a defense, there's a web slinger, and then there's like an offense skill trees. So you have those, so you can get different skills from there. And then you get different abilities that you can find from different suits. So like every suit has some form of abilities attached to it. But what they did was you can take those, so you can stack up to 3 different abilities that you can unlock, and then you can have a main ability. So you basically have 4 skills that you can do. So your main one is what's attached to the suit. Your 3 is, as you level up, they start to unlock, and you can start to unlock them, and then you can stack them. So like one could be bullet resistance, one could be you can jump higher, one could be that you have increased health, whatever it is. As far as that. Now your abilities that you get from suits are usually attacks. So like one spider suit gives you electrical fists. So you have electricity around your fists. Another one, like the punk rock one, the Spider-Man, you like whip out a guitar and you have send a sound wave out, so you could take that sound wave one and per se put it on.
So wait, the suits modify your abilities?
Yes.
Or they give you more abilities?
They give you more. You can only have one ability equipped. So you have 3 skills and 1 ability.
Okay.
And I'm not going to say how many suits are out there, but each level you start to unlock all these other suits. So right now I have 11 suits unlocked.
Jesus Christ.
Okay. And there's a whole bunch more that are still to there. And like when I get to level 45, that's the last suit that will unlock for me as far as level based. There's black cats in the game, and if you do the black cat missions, she gives you a suit to use. So I mean, there's so much.
It's her suit, right? Like you dress up like Black Cat, because I want to see sexy Spider-Man.
The one with the boob window and the fur on the arms and legs
and a tail.
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yep, absolutely.
I'm gonna go buy a PS4 right
now. So like I said, it's just there's a lot of it, and I love that there's a whole bunch of extra content, so it doesn't get stale. Like you can build the Spider-Man that you want. Actually, some of the fun part of it is just kind of building to see what abilities you can stack to them. But like I said, the progression system, it's like there's so much XP. It was like, okay, we want to make this much XP and we want you to get to this level, but we only have a set number of missions to do. And this is how much you're going to want. This is how much we're going to have to give in XP for somebody to come close to getting to that level. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's just I think it was a bad mathematical choice.
It seems like the XP, because you don't really spend it like you would in an RPG. This is definitely not like a role-playing game.
No,
in terms of XP. It's more like a timer. Like, all right, I'm going to have to wait at least 2 missions before I can unlock this. You're not counting the XP like, I need 5,302 XP before I can unlock the next whatever. It's like, you got these rough numbers, okay, another 2 or 3 missions, or maybe I can bang out a couple of side missions and then I'm good to go. So, yeah, I mean, the XP to me almost seemed like more of a timer than really, like a hard number you need to pay attention to.
Yep. Yeah.
And even like the suits, what I thought was cool about the suits, and by the way, I haven't played this game at all. I've been watching YouTube playthroughs.
Yeah, right?
Like I'm sitting here with
I thank you for joining my stream when I was doing it.
Oh yeah, that was cool too. Yeah, watching it live like the day of. But I've been watching this dude and he does these like 20-minute long videos and it's like a mission at a time situation. So I'm watching all this stuff, and what I took away from the suits is like they were almost like what would you call them? Like builds in an RPG? Like I want to be the warrior, or I want to be the sneaky guy, or I want to be,
if they modify your abilities and stuff like that, like.
Yeah, you always have
I could definitely see that.
You always have that base Spider-Man template, but if you wanted to throw more, melee stuff or more range stuff or whatever, it just kind of tweaks to either to your play style or to your mission. Like you get into a mission, this is really hard. Oh, I should have been sneaking around more. All right, let me go back into my suits, find the one that's better with sneaking, or I'll move my, my things around. And you're still Spider-Man. You're just Spider-Man acting in a very specific way, right? Like it's still very thematic. It's still you are Spider-Man, which I thought was really awesome. You never feel like he's like, even though the suits look like, some of them look way different than the typical red, blue Spider-Man. Yeah. It still feels like Spider-Man, which is incredibly important and something they just nailed completely.
Yes, I agree 1,000% with that. And I think the other really cool thing is that none of these abilities are locked to that suit. I thought that was an excellent design choice. So if I like the Iron Suit Spidey, but I really like the abilities of the Velocity Suit Spidey, but I really don't want like the Velocity Suit. I could put all those abilities to the Iron Spidey, and I can use those in the Iron Spidey suit.
You go. They just
it doesn't cost anything.
And the abilities
you just swap as you go. That's pretty cool.
The abilities unlock with the suit. So like that's the whole thing is once you unlock the suit, you've unlocked like really you're unlocking the ability and like a new skin. And they kind of tie them together, but then you can mix and match.
What does it remind me of? Oh my god. It's like Final Fantasy IX.
Yes.
They reaching way far back. You like equip a certain piece of armor and they'd have like a skill on it. And then you'd build up like AP and stuff. And then once you hit the AP threshold, you could use that skill whenever the hell you wanted. And swap out. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty.
You know what? It kind of also reminds me of a little bit too. Speaking of Final Fantasy X2. Remember all the outfits had different abilities for the girls because it was the 3 girls that you were, or you never played X2.
You gonna think less of me if I say I didn't?
No. I'm the only one where the 3 main the 3 main characters were women. Okay.
No, I played 10 and I got to the Thunder Plains and I couldn't do it and I broke a controller. This is probably the first time I ever broke a controller.
Oh wow!
And I don't think I came back to Final Fantasy until 14.
No, you didn't. I don't think you did. So I mean, just I am enjoying the heck out of it. I'm not going to say you have to buy it, but I would say if you are looking for a great open world game and you have some love for Marvel or for comic books, this is definitely a game to pick up. It really is. It really is. Just everything is done so well. I mean, if you like the story, if you don't like the story, I think that's more personal choice. I'm enjoying the story, but I've heard some people say that it's a little weak. I've heard other people say that it's really strong. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying every part of it. Like I said, I am determined to platinum it.
Cool.
That's awesome. As far as the story, so I read comic books. I understand Spider-Man. I'm one of the cool kids. So what I really enjoyed about Spider-Man and something that some of the movies kind of got and some of them haven't quite got yet is that the dichotomy between Spider-Man and Peter Parker. Like right off the bat, when the game starts right up front, he's got a messy room, he's got stuff that's broken, he's late on rent, he's got to go to dinner with Aunt May, he's got to go to work, and he's Spider-Man. start the game. And all of those threads continue through with the main story of he keeps like Aunt Mayo calling like, where are you? You know, we were supposed to eat for dinner, or, you know, he asked, I'm late for work again. Oh, no. Oh, I still haven't paid my rent. Oh, what does that mean? But at the same time, so you are playing Spider-Man, you're swinging around the city and you get that alert of like crime happening right below you. And you get that feeling of like, can I just stop that crime real quick? I'm right here. I'm Spider-Man. And that gives you the same feeling that I imagine the real Spider-Man would have, right? Like he's got all these things he's got to do, but he has that responsibility. So does he stop that crime or does he get to work on time? You're going to stop the crime.
Mugging, pay your rent. All right.
Yeah, exactly. And so they've woven that into the game beautifully. That is amazing.
Do you play as Peter Parker at any point? Like just as Peter Parker?
Yeah.
You actually play as Peter Parker. You play as Peter Parker, Spider-Man, and Mary Jane.
I can't remember, like, back on older generation consoles, I remember, like, everybody loved Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2.
The one they came out, like, in line with the movie, and that was, like, the same things that you were praising, like traversal around the city, the combo systems, the sheer amount of stuff you can do and collect and stuff like that. Like, I can't remember a time in which we ever got to play as Peter Parker.
No, I don't remember. There's another time, and to go back to what Steve was saying, you're right. And the thing is that it takes that dynamic through the whole game. Like it never quits.
Never lets
there's
up.
There's always that thought of, I'm Spider-Man or if I'm Peter Parker. Right. But I'm both. Okay. The other thing too, to bring up the traversal again too, and I didn't want to forget about this. They made it very clear, and it is there. If you cannot attach the web to something, he will not throw a web out. Okay?
That's
awesome. So there has to be a building for him to catch on, or like a helicopter passing by.
And that angle that you hit, so like if you go to the right, you're going to start to swing to the right because that's the angle that you're choosing. Okay? So but it's not a bad balance. Like it's not like, oh my God, now I'm suddenly making a right, 90-degree turn and I'm smashing myself into a building. But you see the way that he starts to move. So you can start to kind of plan because you're looking at the buildings in front of you of, okay, I want to go here, and then I know I'm going to shoot out this way, and then, as far as that goes, one of the coolest things, and actually there's benchmarks in there. So like if you do so many perfect dodges, or if you go travel so much in wall runs, so many meters or whatever, there's actually one that it's you dive down and then you swing. It's called the skimmer. As you would skim, like in real life, you would skim off the top of a car, or you'd skim yourself off the road.
So like
off the street.
Hit the swing like right before you hit the ground, basically.
Correct. Correct. And it's so much fun. Like I saw the animation a couple of times, and then I'm wondering if I'm just not seeing it correctly, but I could swear that there's animations where if you swing at the right time and right behind a car, you will run on the car. And then you will launch yourself up above, from the car. So like it's just mid swing.
That sounds awesome.
So like you're still swinging, but you'll like walk on the car and then,
That's
cool.
I
mean, it's just done so well.
Even the car combat that I've seen where you're chasing somebody in a car and you have to jump on the car and like dodge around them and pull the people out. Like just the animation of a dude sticking out of a car window and then he webs them and then shoots a web out to something the guy just rips out of the car. Like when I saw that animation, I was like, that is genius. That is beautiful. Really is. It's so amazing.
So I think I would do it. Like I said, I cannot recommend it enough. I would say if you're on the fence about it and you can get it because you're going to be really rewarded.
You're talking with two dudes who haven't gotten it yet. So like the only real question is who are you going to loan it to first after you platinum it?
Yeah.
Well, it's digital. But it's digital.
Oh.
Okay.
I can't loan it to nobody.
You can. I will accept an entire PS4. I will totally accept that. Just send it on over. It'll be fine.
I mean, I'd like to think that we're at that stage in our friendship where we can give each other systems.
I can find
we've got a history of doing it.
I do have two of them. I have one upstairs. I got one downstairs. So
you got two PlayStations?
Yeah, I got two PlayStation 4s.
Tape them together. PlayStation 8 done.
Yeah, there you go. PlayStation 8. So no, long story short with it, I had the original launch console, and then we ended up getting a 4K TV, and then my wife for my first Father's Day got me the Pro.
Nice.
So, aww,
it's awesome.
Yeah, she's a good woman. So I think that's gonna do it for us tonight. Mike, thank you so much for joining us.
Dude, pleasure's all mine. Thank you guys for having me on here.
So, and hopefully maybe you'll come back another time when you are a little free and all of that.
Yeah, no, you just let me know what you think I would sound funny talking about, and that sounded like shit. You just let me know what the topic of conversation is going to be, and if I know what the hell I'm talking about, absolutely, I'll jump on. That sounded a lot better.
I'm waiting for the big jump of information for Cyberpunk 2077, and then that's when we need to have you.
You do
again.
A show on that's not going to be a podcast. It's just going to be like 45 straight minutes of me moaning. They got arm guns, jet boosters, flying cars.
Oh, it's so neon. There's neon everywhere.
Yeah, everything's fluorescent. Everything's neon. Yeah, no, I thank you guys for having me on. I appreciate the invite. I appreciate the opportunity to come and talk about games, and yeah, let me know, brah. I'll come back.
Absolutely. Once again, check us out. Subscribe to us if you're just listening, and get that automatic download off iTunes, Google. Stream us on Spotify. You find us on Spreaker, TuneIn, wherever basically you can find a podcast. We are on it. So just look us up. Like I said, on the 24th of this month, there's going to be an episode drops. Check out where I'll be appearing, which is a podcast about something. Sorry, a podcast about something. Check it out. I checked out a couple of theirs, and they just talk about some great, wonderful, awesome stuff. So check that out. And that'll do it for me. Steve, any final thoughts for you?
Final thoughts? I'm really thinking about buying a PS4 because, man, that Spider-Man looks good. I probably won't though. But I mean, it's one of those, like, I've been addicted to watching the videos.
Day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, day after Thanksgiving.
Day after Thanksgiving.
I know. Yeah. It looks great. It looks amazing. I can't wait to watch more. I want to know what happens next in the story. Yeah. So I'm going to stick with it, even though I don't have a PS4, and if I do, it won't be for a long time. But, yeah, man, like I recommend Spider-Man on PS4. Like if I know a couple people that have PS4s, and I'm going to ask them, have you bought Spider-Man yet? Not will you, have you bought it yet? So, amazing.
So, yes, amazing. Exactly. Amazing. Well, that'll do it for us on episode 11. Take care of yourselves, everybody, and we will see you next time around.
Good night.
Peace.